Merry Christmas! Dinner was full!
Hey, everyone. This is Five-Hole Fantasy Hockey. I am your host today, Zachary Vogel. With me, Mike Rogerson. What up?
Hey, buddy.
What's going on? Dude, we got the weekend preview. Hopefully everybody's weeks are going okay. You're coming into another win this week, hopefully. If not, you're on the fence. We're pretty much, that's what we're here to do. We're here to kind of help you get over the edge. There's kind of a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of interesting players going on right now. You have some really good schedules. There's a couple of teams that have good schedules, not just this weekend, Raj, but also next week as well. So they're great players that you can pick up, but then you can hold on to them at least through the beginning of next week, and that just saves you a streamer spot. Other than that, we got our Christmas ranks here coming up at the end. Today, boys, we are going with Christmas characters from shows and movies and stuff like that. So I think this is going to be a good one. I'm coming at you, Raj. You can vote for whose list you like best and throw out your own favorite Christmas character and stuff like that, either on Twitter at FHF Hockey, or get at us on the Discord. We have channels for a little bit of everything. And a lot of these shows, we take good comments and stuff like that from the Discord and really try to incorporate them because, well, you're making it easy for us. You literally do have to work for us, so it's great. You just tell us what's best to talk about. So thanks for writing our episodes for us. We appreciate it. We even have a Christmas channel on there. You can vote for either myself or Raj. Hashtag FHFHXmas. Raj, first things first, we got to get these bad vibes out of the way. And we are going with injuries.
Boo, injuries.
Max Pacioretty, he's been skating for a while now, since mid-November. Hasn't completed a full practice yet. Most of the time, from what I'm to understand, he's out there at the beginning of practice. And once the rest of the team comes out to start practice, he goes in. Same with Andres Kasha right now. He was out there, skating before practice today and everything like that. And additionally, we might even be talking about Freddie Anderson coming up here and the consequence of him possibly coming back. Patches is going to shake things up, that's for sure. You'd have to think that he will get slotted into that top six immediately. So let's kind of keep an eye on that. The Canes have kind of been... They've been up and down, man. They've been up and down. So it'll be interesting to kind of see what Max Pacioretty brings to that offense. Add Josh Manson, to the list of hurt Avalanche players right now. McKinnon went out that game the other night. 4 weeks. 4 weeks. Wow. McKinnon is out now.
That hurts.
That's rough. That hurts for a team that was already really hurting. A little good news here. Robbie Fabry and Elmer Soderblom both had quote-unquote extensive on-ice workouts recently, or as recently as Tuesday. I think that's an interesting one because as the Avalanche are getting, more and more worse off, it seems like Detroit is starting to come back. Where do you kind of see Fabry slotting in? They've been moving some people around. Lucas Raymond has spent time on the first and second line. Same thing with Larkin. Do you see him going into, that top line Bertuzzi spot?
I don't know. I mean,
he's a Bertuzzi-like player, is the thing.
Potentially, yeah. They didn't show him a ton of love before, but I think he might end up there. I honestly think he'd be a great line mate for Andrew Kopp, but I think they need him in the top six right now. Potentially Pius Suter maybe moving, but I mean, Raymond hasn't really earned his way there so much this year, so he could even get bumped. I know they want him to do well, but...
Yeah, I like Kubalik back up there.
Oh, I like Kubalik there.
I want to see some Fabry, Larkin, Kubalik action. That's what I want to see.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice. I like Robbie Fabry when he's playing good. I mean, just a matter of what the coach thinks.
He's a goal scorer, man. Robbie Fabry scores goals. He is a goal scorer. Okay, moving on. Sean Monahan, he is day-to-day. And we kind of, TJ did a little bit of a spotlight on him a little bit ago. He's been playing, under the radar decent this year. So that kind of sucks for them because he was starting to heat up just as of recently. Blackwood, Mackenzie Blackwood, now day to day. He's going to be coming back soon. And as much as we all love Akira Schmid and everything like that, he's got to be going back down to the AHL. Like, it only makes sense. And today, even in the Discord, I forget who was saying it, but they got offered a trade with Schmid in it. Yeah, if someone's stupid enough to trade for him right now because they don't understand what's going on, they're just looking at numbers, then okay, I guess. But that would be a hard one to pass by people.
We had this conversation last time you brought up Schmid. Like, I hate it. I hate it so much when you see a goalie who's undefeated, 5 straight wins, 1.42 GA, 949 save percentage, and gets sent back down for a guy who's 880. But that's the way she goes.
That's the way she goes? That's right. That's the way she goes.
5-0. He is 5-0. And it was a good looking 5-0 too. It's not like it's worth, against totally crap teams, throw an Arizona in there and stuff like that. But he's holding teams to, 1 or 2 goals. It's pretty impressive, but he's got to be going back down. It only makes sense. My hometown Flyers. Ryan Ellis will be officially out for the entire season. That sucked. I'm not going to lie. I never really was in love with that trade in the first place. James Reimer could be back on Friday versus Anaheim, or at least that is the rumor. He has said that he is hoping to be back for that game. So he is definitely somebody that you could probably pick up. I don't like the Sharks, but maybe you do. So I hope that people in San Jose don't even like the Sharks. All right, Torrey Krug and Pavel Buchnevich, both day-to-day as well. Then next up, Raj, this one, Demko on IR now.
They knew he was out for 6 weeks. It's 6 weeks. Honestly, he was a piece of shit, man. He's my favorite goalie, but he was a piece of shit this year. So hopefully it's actually good in the long run. But yeah, 6 weeks. So hopefully it gives him time to get his head straight.
I guess so. I mean, for now, though, it's definitely Spencer Martin in that driver's seat. So, I mean, that's a guy that you could go out and get starts from.
I like how you said you can get starts from Spencer Martin. He's 8-2 this year. So he's getting wins.
Well, I'm not saying he's horrible. I'm not saying he's bad or anything like that. But you can automatically replace those starts that you're losing from Demko is more the way I meant it. I didn't mean that he's not good or anything.
I mean, he's not good. He's getting wins, but he's getting like 6-5 wins. He had like the 500 save percentage, and then
where they went down by 4 goals and then came back and ended up winning.
Yeah, but it was one of those things where they came back after he was pulled, so he didn't get the win even. He had a no start with a fucking 14 goals against average for that game.
Better than a loss.
It is better than a loss.
All right, next up, I was actually watching this game earlier tonight. Nick Robertson left the game with what appeared to be a dislocated shoulder. He got taken off his feet near the boards, ended up hitting the boards, with his arm kind of up over his head. I've had a dislocated shoulder a bunch of times. When he was going off the ice, he was really holding that arm down. It's what it looked like to me because I've seen it before because I've done it to myself quite a few times. I'm not a doctor, but that's my guess. So if he's going to be out with a dislocated shoulder, you're going to come back for, at least a little bit of time. And it sucks for Robertson because, he's kind of been plagued by injuries. I mean, he had a friggin' broken leg and like all sorts of shit. So I hope you get better, buddy.
How do you like the talk around the Christmas dinner table between the Robertsons when they compare seasons this year?
I hope they don't talk about it. Freddie Anderson, he's been back at practice starting today. He's not going to be back, in playing shape yet. But in all honesty, I mean, you have Pyotr Kochetkov there, and I brought him up earlier. I think he's been playing really well, to be honest with you. A big part of when he was playing, they were slumping. And even in that time, he has a 5-1-4 record. Now, I know that there's 4 OT losses, but still, I've been watching those games, and he's been keeping them in them. Like, he's been keeping the Canes in these games. In all honesty, I'd rather get 1 point than 0 points, Raj. He has a .244 goal against average and a .914 save percentage. He's been playing really well. And honestly, it seems like, Ranta even got skipped here. What do you think about Pyotr Kochetkov? Do you like him as much as I do? Because I brought him up a couple of times, and I feel like nobody talks about him.
Yeah, I honestly haven't heard too much about him. But, it's kind of like the New Jersey situation, only New Jersey's playing really well. Canes haven't been playing that great, but he has strung together a few wins. The losses, I mean, they weren't horrible losses. Like, he doesn't have any roast beef this year.
That's what I'm saying. When they're losing, it's not his fault. I can say that assuredly. It's not his fault.
Yeah, he's got no stinkers. So I mean, it's pretty tough when you got Freddie Anderson to overtake, but it's definitely promising for the future. Yeah, I mean, he's doing well. He's got very respectable numbers, considering how bad they've been doing.
All right, so dude, that does it for the bad vibes.
You've got mail.
Mailbag.
The mailbag's been filling up. The old Santa sack. FH89, Jeff.
Jeff.
That guy.
Jeff. Name's Jeff.
This question's kind of come up off and on, a roundabout ways, but he officially asked it here. I've got a good team in my keeper league, but I'm losing man games played and goalie battles, so I'm off to a bad start. Are there good under-the-radar players that you can suggest trading for as season-long holds? Classic question. I've run into this on one of my teams this year where I look at it, I love my team, and I'm losing. And I look at who I should drop, and I don't want to drop anybody. It's a tough position, but you got to give in. You got to create a streamer spot or try to trade. So he's specifically asking for, are there any guys who we might be good trade targets who are under the radar? To me, that says buy low. Look for guys who are buy low. You got anybody in mind on your end?
It's hard to be buying low on goalies because some of these goalie problems, we all say goalies are different, man. They just are. I'm in on buying low on a goal scorer because those goals are going to bounce back. It's not always so easy for goalies to just bounce back. Find that streamer spot, and then just stream them in and out. I think that Stuart Skinner is a great look. He's a solid option. He's only 60% owned. He has the Oilers offense in front of him. He's 4-1 in his last 5 games. And the Oilers are scoring 5+, almost 5 goals in each of those games. I mean, that would be the one thing that I'm worried about, them scoring 5 goals a game. And you have to think that that's not going to keep up. But still, Stuart Skinner is going to get those starts in Edmonton. And they are a very good offense either way. And like I said, he's available in 40% of leagues. Elsewhere, I mean, you can even look at like a Charlie Lindgren. He's only 12% owned. And with Kemper out, that's what I'm kind of looking for here. You can go the 0G route. You know what I mean? You can do it. If you're losing these goalie stats, I love streaming goalies. It's always, I know it's kind of feast or famine, but I do like doing it. And this is the time of year when, these random goalies start popping up. And it happens every year, Raj. It happens every year where there's just people that come out of nowhere. You're like, wow, I didn't think I was going to be saying Charlie Lindgren's name coming up, a third through the season. But here I am doing it.
True. There's a few goalies like that who are shocking even more than usual. Next question's also along the same lines. Richie T. Richie T just picked up Vladar. Could he really replace Markstrom as the go-to goalie in Calgary? I'm going to say my piece, and then I'll let you go. I'm just going to say no.
No, he's not going to replace Markstrom. But like I said, come on, these it's hard to come back. When you're in a bad spot as a goalie, it's hard to come back. And I'm not going to lie, Raj, you full well know this about me. I already like Dan Vladar. So this doesn't hurt on how I feel about him. He's only 34% owned too. He's on a 4-game win streak with Markstrom, while he's getting his shit together. But I mean, he has a 9-12 on the season and 259. I don't see him totally taken over, but, picking him up for now until that decision is made, I want to be the one making that decision. I don't want you making the decision, Raj. I don't want, to leave him out there and then Raj picks him up and then Raj gets to figure out what he wants to do with Dan Vladar. I want to figure out what I want to do with him.
Yeah, I think that's right on the button there. I mean, he's playing very well. He's a good goalie, and he's really trying to prove himself because he knows very well when Markstrom has it together, he's back on the bench. So he's trying to show what he's got. And he does have 4 wins in a row. And, his recent losses were only 3-2, and then one he lost 2-1. They get a 974 and lost. So he's playing very well. You got to pick him up if he's still out there, and looks like he's out there in a lot of leagues. So pick him up, and then when Marky Mark gets his shit together, that's the end of that. Turn back into a pumpkin, but pretty hard to argue with his numbers. And Calgary is just too good to stay shitty.
They're starting to turn it around. They're turning it around a little bit. They are.
They're just too good not to.
This is exactly why I was just saying you go the 0G route. It works. 0G works because you find guys like Dan Vladar and you stream them for this 4-game win streak and stuff like that. And then you got Vazzy owners out there pulling their friggin' hair out, wondering why he has 8 losses, and the guy that's playing, Dan Vladar and Akira Schmid is out here winning weeks, and your first round draft pick, is killing you on the inside. This is why you go 0G.
I mean, we could talk all day about that, and that if you can manage to pick these guys up all the time, then it works. This is a great year to go 0G, that's for sure. So far, I would definitely, like we both have said, I would definitely not drop Markstrom if you have him. But
no.
Put him on the shelf for a bit, and you comfortably ride Vladar until Calgary's back to being 100% comfortable with Markstrom. But yeah, you're right. This year is very frustrating for goalies. We've already talked about Vazzy and Demko, and even Shesterkin is way down the list. I was looking it up earlier today. Saros, who was the number 1 goalie last year, is the 35th best goalie right now. So, yeah, there's a lot of votes for 0G right now. That's for dang sure. Along the same lines or similar lines to the other part of that question, Drewski, also known as Team Furious, asks us here, what do you do when your streaming spots get filled by non-streamers? So this question comes up a lot. I know my answer is always the same, and I think you're going to say the same thing, basically. I'm always up for a 2-for-1 trade. The week or the 2 weeks when you're in this situation, I would be offering up crazy deals, even to just slightly upgrade one player, because otherwise it is going to just end up a drop. It's a terrible idea to not have a streamer spot. You're just going to lose games. If you're losing, 4 to 6 games, or even sometimes as many as 8 to 10 games just because you don't want to drop somebody, 8 games out of a streamer spot is going to be better than even an elite forward in most cases, right? So you have to create that streamer spot. I personally like to give it a week or two. Just see if you can upgrade somebody even just slightly. But you got to do something.
I mean, I do most certainly think that the 2-for-1 trade is the best way to go. Because if you're doing it right, these guys that you pick up, you're going to start picking up hold players. Where at least you want to hold them for the time being. And if you drop them, they're just going to get picked up right away. And that's okay too. You can just buck up and drop someone. You're going to lose them, but them's the fucking breaks, man. Other than that, 2-for-1 trades are your only other option. And that's I like doing that because number one, you're upgrading your team in the long run. It makes you a little more top heavy, but it makes that that top heavy part a little deeper in your team. So I do like the 2-for-1. That is 100% in my eyes the best option.
The worst option is to hesitate, right? And just sit here and wonder what to do. That's the worst thing because you're just losing games played. Last present in the Santa sack here, Yar Hebrews.
Yar.
What are we thinking about Ryan Johanson? Hold or get rid of. He's clogging up my streamer spot and has not been great this year.
He's clogging up your streamer spot because you're not dropping him like you should be.
Yeah, last year, I was talking to somebody else earlier today about Nashville. They were asking about Saros, and my one thing I just said was Nashville was just a freakish happening last year. Guys scoring 40 goals all over the place, and I mean, Saros being a great goalie wasn't that weird, but the whole team was just on some weird other level last year. So, I don't know. Rajo is a guy that I don't want. And last year made me angry because he did quite well. So I would not hesitate to drop him. I mean, if you think somebody in your league likes him, fire off a trade. But I mean, if you need a streamer spot, that's a good 2-for-1 attempt anyways.
I can't imagine you could possibly trade him to somebody. I can't imagine a world where that happens, but you never know.
If you're in, this guy knows his own league, I'd assume, and if you're in a league where you can't make a trade, it also means you're pretty safe to probably drop him, and you'll probably get him back if you want. The point is, you're out here saying you don't want him, so that's your answer. The streamer spot is definitely going to give you more points than what Rajo is putting up right now. That's a for sure.
If you just want the okay of somebody saying you're making the right move, hey man, you're making the right move. Yar.
So that's the bottom of the satchel. So that should bring us up to the weekend preview. What do you got from the schedule for us here?
Okay, so like usual, I mean, we're looking at, your Friday, Saturday, Sunday here. Friday is definitely your busy day. You have 10 games played on Friday, 8 on Saturday, and 6 on Sunday. So there's a couple of different ways that you can go about this. I have your best schedule down as, your back-to-backs. I like the back-to-backs. I think that's where you're looking for. A Saturday, Sunday is a great back-to-back, but in all honesty, you can get a Friday game and then drop somebody and look to pick up somebody for the week, for the rest of the weekend. But your Friday, Saturday back-to-backs, which are, more prevalent, are the Buffalo Sabres, Calgary Flames, Minnesota Wild, New York Islanders, and Pittsburgh Penguins. Starting off here, Raj, I think this is an easy one. We've been talking a lot about the Buffalo Sabres lately, and it's all about that second line right now. You're clearly not going to get like a Tage Thompson or anything like that. If I'll let you say Voldemort's name, but I think we're still looking at Dylan Cozens here. Like we said, he's 52% owned right now. That's up 23% since last week. This is going to be last call on Dylan Cozens real soon, man. Real soon.
Yeah, dude, and it's actually up to 55 now, and you did these notes not too long ago, so it's like literally,
I did these notes like 12 hours ago.
you can watch it tick up. So if you want Dylan Cozens, you better get on there, and I think you do want Dylan Cozens, unless you're in a league with me, because I got him.
Other than that, you could get, you could try to get lucky, maybe see if an Alex Tuch is out there. He is 77% owned, but that's definitely a just go check. Other than that, you're looking at my boy Peterka. First off, it really is. It's all about Dylan Cozens.
3 3-point games in a row as of last night.
Who'da thunk it? So the Calgary Flames are actually one of these teams that we're going to be talking about in both the week preview, and then we're going to be turning around talking about them again for next week. So they're one of those teams that you're looking to pick up, then hold. You're looking to hold for next week. In fact, they have a perfect schedule next week. And you're going to hear a lot of usual names. First off, Tyler Toffoli. We talked about him. He took Darcy Kemper out of the game, who's still hurt. But he is another just go check here. He's 65% owned. He's definitely heating up. He has 3 goals, 3 assists in his last 6 games. 3 shots on goal per game in that span. And a lot better ice time. He's also on that top power play right now and getting points on that power play as well. Other than that, I mean, it's one of your guys, Andrew Mangiapane, at 38% owned. I know you got to be in on this one. And in all honesty, when the drafts were happening and stuff like that earlier in the year, I thought that he was going to be a rosterable player this year instead of a guy that is 38% owned. I thought he would be straight up rosterable.
I thought last year was promising. It was maybe a little bit much, but I mean, I'm looking at the team over the last 2 weeks here, and everybody's picking it up. He is the one thing about Mangiapane, he is like a Cy Young. He scores goals, and he does not enjoy passing the puck. So he's great for goal-heavy leagues or a goal streamer, and right now he's in stream territory. But he's been shooting again a couple times a game as ice times come back. I do like Mangiapane. Toffoli's up to point per game. Huberdeau, not that you're going to pick him up, but finally he's back to point per game. I just had to say that because finally there's a positive to say about him. The one dude who I noticed before, Adam Ruzicka. Now 7 games, point per game. I don't know anything about him, I'll say, but he's starting to creep up in time on ice. I mean, there's only so much time on ice with the amount of good forwards Calgary has, but he's sure making the most out of his 14 or 15 minutes he's been getting. I wouldn't buy that long term, but if you do need a streamer, and like you said, they got a good weekend and a great schedule next week, that's the time to maybe stream him in. He's center left wing, so it gives you a couple options to shift him around the lineup. So again, I wouldn't buy Ruzicka long term, but I think he's a sneaky pick. 6% owned. He's definitely available.
There's and still you got my guy Blake Coleman still out there, who I think is definitely a good streamer pickup. Also lowly owned, 7% owned, 2 goals, 1 assist in his last 3. For once, we're talking about a guy that actually shoots. Blake Coleman takes a ton of shots.
Yeah, and he'll get you some hits. He'll get you a bunch of everything, and you never know. He goes off sometimes, right? Like, you'll have those games where he'll have like 5 hits and 9 shots one game, and definitely worth a pickup. He's been he's been disappointing since getting to Calgary, but I think he's still got it. Like, I think he can still put up numbers, and especially in a categories league or even in a points league, he's never going to get you a 0. You know that. He's going to put up at least whatever he's going to get you from hits and blocks and some shots. So that is a nice thing about Coleman. You're not relying on just the points, which have sometimes been a little more scarce than we'd like, but it's nice to have that buffer of peripherals for sure with him.
Other than that, unless you want to go a little deep here, you can look at Dylan Dubé, 3% owned. Dude has 2 goals and 5 assists in his last 5 games. So, I mean, it might be a deep flyer, but, he's producing as far as points as of late, but the Flames are in general. Next up, Minnesota Wild. They also play Friday, Saturday, and have a really good schedule next week as well. Also have a perfect schedule next week. So these are really the two teams that I think you want to kind of bone up on, if you will, is the Flames and the Wild. For Minnesota, I can't help it. I gotta stick with Jeek. I know he's 61% owned and he's strict C, but he is just straight fucking worth it. Joel Eriksson, he's just good. Other than that, I'm probably looking Kalen Addison way. Only 13% owned now. And he's finally starting to show up a little bit on the score sheet. He does have top power play. Unfortunately, those are the only points that he is getting, is power play points. We've talked about how that is scary for me, and I don't like that, but it's just the case. So, he is a streamer as far as I am concerned. But if you're getting that top power play, like I said before, and that's, good players on that power play. You're looking at Joel Eriksson, Max Zuccarello, Matt Boldy, Kaprizov, and then Kalen Addison. Yeah, I kind of want a piece of that. I do. I'm not going to lie.
Certainly going to get you power play points with that power play. The one shot per game's a little rough, but with the schedule, I think it's a super, super good idea to just load up on Minnesota and Calgary now, and then you've got your streamer picks to work with for next week, and you can hold all these streamers. So,
moving on, Raj. Another back-to-back on Friday, Saturday. I'm looking at the New York Islanders. I'll always say these just go checks. Matt Barzal, 72% owned. I feel that's too low. I just do. I feel like that's too low for Matt Barzal. And, honestly, he's over a point per game right now. He's a point over point per game, and he is only 72% owned. It doesn't seem right.
Yeah, and he's shooting. He's shooting 3 times a game. Which for him, he's an assist guy, but he's shooting more than he normally does here. I like that. At least if he doesn't get points, you can just gaze into those 8-pack abs. But yeah, he's leading the team in points. When was the last time somebody on the Islanders was point per game? 72%, there's kind of a few guys like that. I'd even say with the schedule that's given, go check on Brock Nelson and Anders Lee as well. They're in the 60s for ownership. So you got to check on those guys.
If you want a guy that, that's a little more available and also does shoot a ton, 19 shots on goal in his last 5, Zach Parise at 13%. It's a left wing, right wing, so you don't have to worry about that, that center complex that we all end up dealing with, where you have too many centers. And I know he's kind of a guy that you thought about him more when, years back when he was on the Wild. But, dude, at that 13%, he's producing lately, shooting a ton. I like Zach Parise here.
Yeah, and he'll toss you a hit and a block usually.
Anybody else you got here?
Well, the Islanders are tough. If you're looking for bangs, I'm really into a Romanov stream. If you need hits and blocks, he gets more hits, but he gets you hits and the blocks. You can almost close your eyes and pick someone on the Islanders if you want hits. They have so many guys who hit a lot.
Like JGP?
I was just noticing he's actually got more hits than Romanov. So if you need that, he is a straight C, but he takes a crap load of face-offs. He hits 3 times a game for a center, which is crazy. And he has a chance of points. He hasn't been lighting it up this year, but he's always got a chance of points.
And he's so good at face-offs, too. He really is. He is so damn good at face-offs. Okay, so rounding out these Friday, Saturday back-to-backs, we're looking at Pittsburgh Penguins here. And Raj, I'm not going to lie to you, there's only one player that I feel like I can even say that I want to put my name on right now, and that's Kasperi Kapanen, oddly enough, at 6% owned. Right wing only, 3 goals and 1 assist since returning 4 games ago. So, he has 4 points in 4 games, 11 shots on goal in that span, so that's just under 3 per game. I think Kasperi Kapanen, before people start remembering that he's around, Now's the time to go real quick, snag him, and, get him for Friday, Saturday. Then drop him, pick up somebody for a Sunday game.
I'm still saying you got to go check on Bryan Rust. He's down to 60%. I know this is an anomaly.
That's true.
But he's at what? I can't even do that much math. He's got 6 points in the last 2 games. That does come after a spell of 2 points in about 20 games. But we know who Bryan Rust is. I mean, if anybody does, you do. You're a fan, and he's back to shooting 6 times, 5 times. I mean, it hasn't been his best season, but he's great. And if he's shooting like that, and now he's obviously putting up the numbers, but he's a worthy pickup if he's around. I would risk it, especially given the good schedule. I think you have to.
Oh, I would definitely risk it. What would it hurt? You just end up dropping him if he really doesn't produce. But I don't think that would happen. I think you pick him up and you end up holding him. That's a guy that you can literally, even if you don't really you're not in love with Bryan Rust, I guarantee you that's going to be a guy that's going to start back up. You can pick him up for free right now. And if you really want to flip him, then flip him as soon as he starts heating back up, just because you know what he's capable of, but you're getting him for free at the time.
Yeah, I think he's done his not producing for the season. I think he's already had those games. So I think he's a pretty safe pickup if he's available, which he's pretty available.
Okay, so next up for Saturday, Sunday. So I'm looking at these Saturday, Sunday back-to-backs, and you're looking at 2 teams here, the Florida Panthers and the LA Kings. Florida Panthers, as we said before, well, they're kind of hurt right now. So I'm not going to lie to you. There's not too many places to look. Your Brandon Montours of the world are, they're all gobbled up. You're not getting Sam Bennett. You're lucky if you get a Carter Verhaeghe. He's at 63% owned, but he's doing just fine. And I don't know why people bitch about him, but he has 3 goals and an assist in his last 3. Taking a ton of shots on goal with Barkov out. 16 shots on goal in his last 3 games, Raj. It's over 5 a game.
Yeah, man, he's good. How often do we talk about Verhaeghe and nobody picks him up? I mean, he's up to 5 points in the last 4, and yeah, buttloads of shots. He had 8 shots a couple games ago against Winnipeg. There's lots of need for shots right now, so I'm definitely down for Verhaeghe. I don't know why. I mean, he's up to 65%, which I think is crazy that he had to go up to 65%. I don't know. I've said it, and I know you've said it. To me, he just should be on somebody's team. But yeah, the rest of Florida is fairly taken.
I mean, at least Barkov should be coming back very shortly, if he's not technically back already. But other than that, I will say, I brought him up before, and I really don't hate him. Eetu Luostarinen, only 3% owned, dual eligible, center left wing. Dude, 4 assists in his last 6 games. He's one of those guys that is definitely going to be under the radar and people aren't going to be picking up on right away. Very lowly owned, but can definitely help you out. He's one of those guys that honestly, while they've been having these woes with the IR stints and whatnot, and the injuries, he's actually stepped up a bit. So I do like Eetu Luostarinen, but that's definitely more of a deep cut. I'm not gonna lie, he wouldn't be my number 1 for the weekend. That's for sure. All right, LA Kings. I feel like the LA Kings are hard to talk about sometimes. They do have my boy Sean Durzi, who just keeps going. He is the friggin' Energizer Bunny, dude. 45%. He is up 12% from last week. There's another one of those guys, it's going to be last call real soon for Sean Durzi. Now, I'm not saying he's not going to go on a lull. It could happen, but I've been piping this guy's name out, for a solid year and a half now. Finally, Sean Durzi is, becoming a little more known here. Dude's on a 6-game point streak right now. A goal and 8 assists in that point streak. A goal and 8 assists in 6 games.
Yeah. 6 power play points in 6 games as well, which
My boy, dude.
always helps. You know who else has 6 power play points in the last 6 games? Your other boy. He's more of a man, but Philly Dano. Man, actually, Dursey is completely outplaying Doughty.
Yeah.
Doughty's playing 7 extra minutes on the same team. And it's all Dursey, man. I friggin' love that. Nobody got any stats tonight because Toronto shut them out, but I do also like...
There goes that point streak. Sorry, Sean Dursey, but I still love you.
Victor Arvidsson. He's up to 30% rostered, left wing, right wing, but he's also got 7 points in that same 6 games. One of which there was no points. So he's doing quite well. We know Arvidsson likes to shoot, and he's shooting 3 times a game, which is a good sign. He had a real slow go for a while, but I think he's a fairly safe pickup. Getting the power play points as well. He will give you 0 peripherals for Christmas, but good chance of shots and points and power play points. So definitely a great points league pickup for sure.
Sean Dursey gives you like a good amount of everything.
He sure does.
Just so you know, Raj.
He sure does.
Good amount of everything. It's the future. All right. Other than that, Raj, the only other schedule I really like is the Jets. And I feel like we've talked about the Jets a lot lately. So I think we can just kind of throw a quick little disclaimer on our usual guys, and that would be Blake Wheeler right now and Cole Perfetti. That's obviously who we're looking at in Winnipeg, just like before. Anybody else you want to throw out?
Not really. The only thing I just will mention, the other day I kind of half-ass said Adam Lowry, and since then he's got 7 points in 6 games. And if you are in a face-offs league, he takes all of their big face-offs. He actually is taking more than Scheifele, more than PLD. So if you're in a face-offs league, Adam Lowry, and he also gives you the hits, and that those points won't stay. Like, he's not a point per game guy like this, but in a peripherals and or a categories league, he's actually pretty good right now.
Rod, see, the only other thing I think I want to go over for this weekend would really be just the teams that you're avoiding, which honestly, there are a lot of teams that only play one game. That's Anaheim, Carolina, Chicago, Dallas, Detroit, Edmonton. You know what? Fuck this. I'm not naming all these. I'm not naming all these. I'm gonna redo that, Raj. There's my clap. All right, so the only other thing I would go is, there is a lot of teams to avoid. I would name them all, to be honest with you, but there's like 16 or 17 teams that only play one game this weekend. They're easy to find. One thing I want to talk about, though, is the prep for next week. Now, we did go over the Calgary Flames and the Minnesota Wild. Both have perfect weeks next week. Those are the teams where I'm looking to pick up players. We said them already. You're looking at Jeek. You're looking at Mangiapane or Toffoli if he's out there or anything like that. Even a Kalen Addison. But you know how I feel about teams that have 3 games in 4 days. And there's quite a few of them that have 3 games in 4 days to start out the week between Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But there's only one team that has those 3 games, with 2 of them being off nights. Every other team has 3 games, but only 1 off night. So that is the Anaheim Ducks, Dallas Stars, Edmonton Oilers, Nashville Predators, and the New Jersey Devils. The other team that has the 2 off nights is the Montreal Canadiens. I know, but I mean, you can still look at a Kirby Dach here, Raj. He's 26% owned. And one of my favorites, as always, Josh Anderson. He's 4% owned, and he's a guy that's, gonna get you a little bit of everything. I actually like Josh Anderson a lot. Always have, always will.
Yeah, he gets you the hits and shots, at least, right? So, yeah, I like him. He's a right wing, which sometimes have a need for. And our other guy, Jacquage, Arbor Jacage. If you need hits, he has all of them.
He has all of them.
I like that guy. I want him to be good. It seems like St. Louis really likes him too. He's talked him up a lot, and I love that. I do like a few players on Montreal. Being a Canadian, I'm supposed to hate the Canadians. But man, they do have a few cool players. I have to admit, well, especially while TJ's not here.
All right, Raj. Well, that does it for our weekend preview. Hopefully we helped you out with, going into the weekend, finishing off with a win here. And if you can kind of look towards next week, luckily a lot of these teams that have, or at least two of them, the Flames and the Wild, have good schedules this weekend and fantastic schedules next week. So those are the guys you really want to look at. Raj, I heard something. There's something on my roof. A clatter of sorts. That clatter is our Christmas rankings. Hashtag FHFH Xmas. Doing Christmas characters. We're doing Christmas characters. Raj, how you feeling? I feel like your list is great. I feel like you have a possible winning list here. You went a little more. I went a little more deep cut.
I'm just going with my heart. I'm going with my heart, and I like my list because I was busy all day today, and then when I brought up the notes on my phone and I saw who you'd picked, I got worried. I have to say, your list is definitely cooler than mine. I picked my favorites. Definitely.
Oh, so it's not like you had any of my guys on your list. I didn't draft a player before you did.
No. Like I said, I had no chance today, and then I looked at your notes later on the way home today, and I was a little worried, man. Without further ado, I'm gonna get chirped for this, I know, and I don't care. It's Buddy from Elf, Will Ferrell. I don't care. Elf is a fucking amazing movie.
It's a great movie. Why do you think people are going to come at you for some reason for liking Elf?
I get came at all the time for liking Elf.
I bet you get came on all the time too. Yeah.
All over the place. Jon Favreau, man. Iron Man. He makes all the great movies. Swingers, Elf. He's a fantastic director. It's really hard to make new Christmas stuff that doesn't suck. I know in the music industry, I've been told for the last 20 years, if you write a new good Christmas song, you'll make $1 million because they're all terrible. And it's fairly true. Same with movies, but I got to say Elf, it's modern in terms of Christmas. Yeah, I like it.
I think it's a solid pick. I don't hate your number 3 at all. In fact, I like that movie a great deal. I'm gonna try to come at you though, and like I said, yours is definitely more known. But I'm going Marv. I'm going Marv here, man. Marv from Home Alone. Fucking Wet Bandits. The Wet Bandits. And then that don't work. Going Sticky Bandits, son. Sticky Bandits. Marv and Harry, but Marv was always, more my favorite. Love them both. But come on, man, Marv.
I can't argue with your list, and it's frustrating me right now.
I feel like he was a perfect he is a perfect casting for that character too. So I am. I'm going Marv here at my number 3.
My number 2, I mean, if my last pick was a newer one, this is an older one, and I'm going with Charlie Brown's Christmas Tree. The actual Christmas tree. I know it's not a person.
I forget how many lines that Christmas tree had in that movie.
No lines, but it's the entire point of the movie. So, as a character, that was the category here, and it's my favorite character. I love it. That's all I can say. I don't love Charlie Brown.
Charlie Brown is a pussy, dude. Charlie Brown's a big pussy.
I like the piano player who plays the soundtrack, and I like the shitty little Christmas tree.
You know who's not a pussy?
I do.
Yukon Cornelius. Yukon Cornelius is not a pussy. He is my number 2. And if y'all don't know who Yukon Cornelius is, then you need to learn you a thing or two. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. But yeah, he's out there, he's fighting friggin' abominable snowmen and stuff like that. He saved the day. Dude's just out there looking for silver and gold. Come on. Yes. Come on, man. He's just out there looking for silver and gold, saving Rudolph's life. There would be no there would be no Christmas without Yukon Cornelius saving Rudolph. Come on. That, and he and the abominable snowman in this just, story of retribution become friends at the end. You know what I mean? They're even decorating the friggin' Christmas tree together. Abominable snowman puts a star up on the Christmas tree. Everything's good. Yukon Cornelius. He was almost my number one.
I would say that is the best pick of the entire contest so far. Of all categories, that's my favorite pick of all. People didn't hear this, but the second we brought up Christmas characters as a category, which, side note, did come from Discord. That was a mention from one of our Discord members. That came out of your mouth so fast, and I knew I was doomed to this because that is the coolest pick to me. I have to say,
he's a cool character, man. He's a cool dude.
My number one, and I know you're going to give me shit for this one.
It's the Nintendo of Christmas characters.
I don't know about that, but it's definitely more known. But
It's the Sega Genesis of Christmas characters.
I almost didn't put this strictly because of what you said about my Nintendo pick, but I'm going with my favorite. I'm doing this for real, and the Grinch is my favorite. He's everybody's favorite. I don't care. I'm not changing who I am, Zach. That's my favorite.
If there is somebody that's gonna beat the Grinch, I honestly, I love this character. And like I said, Yukon Cornelius was almost my number one, and I had him slotted in at number one, and then I thought about this person and had to move him to number two. Cousin Eddie. Man, Cousin Eddie. Yeah. Shitter's full. Come on. There's so many fantastic lines that, are going to stick with me for my entire freaking lifetime from that movie that's said specifically by that man. It is great. Talk about saving the day. He went and fucking kidnapped Mr. Shirley. If he wouldn't have done that, he wouldn't end up getting his bonuses back. Come on. Cousin Eddie saving the day. Dude, how can you not love Cousin Eddie? I know that you do. Everybody loves Cousin Eddie.
I do. Fun fact, I produced his album in real life.
It's awesome. I'm sorry that you couldn't choose it.
Honestly, that one didn't even cross my mind, and I think it's a beautiful pick.
Crazy. Fantastic Christmas character. Randy Quaid is awesome. He just is.
Oh, dude. Really nice gentleman.
All right, so that does it. That does it for our Christmas list for Christmas characters. You got Raj with Buddy the Elf, Charlie Brown's Christmas tree that isn't an actual character, it's a fucking object, and then the Grinch. You got me with Mar from Home Alone, Yukon Cornelius from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and then Cousin Eddie. He's my number one draft choice. You can vote for us on the Discord, vote for us on Twitter, get at us, hashtag FHFHXmas. While you're at it, feel free to give us a rating. Don't hurt my feelings with some sort of crappy rating. I am sustained by your love. I want your 5 stars. And write a little something nice. It's that time of year. That can be your Christmas present to myself and Raj and TJ. Write us something nice. Give us 5 stars. Other than that, Raj, it's been a good time. I've enjoyed this episode. That's your weekend preview. I think this just about does it.
That's her. Wrap it up.
Not usually. All right. So, Raj, love you. TJ, Love you, dude. Everyone else, love yous.
Love you.
Adios, turd nuggets.